Hi my friends, this is Mark Rockledge. I'm coming here with some tips on the Boss E-Band JS-10 player recorder, and I want to give you some tips on recording and the input features and such, etc. Okay, let's get started with the first two inputs. You have input 1 down here at the bottom of the player, input 2. Input 1 and input 2, you can play electric guitars on there, or acoustically with acoustic electric inputs, jacks, and these are 1/4 inch style. Over here we have the headphone jack style input on the auxiliary, and that can be used for any type of line-in instrument or player, such as a CD player, MP3 player, or coming from your cell phone and getting it off a line and playing a backing track. And there's other ways, by the way, in a different video I can show you for getting backing tracks on there, other than using your auxiliary input, and that would be the external way coming into from an external source. Right here you have input 1 for your guitar and or microphone, one or the other, and over here we have input 2 for microphone or guitar. So you can play 2 guitars at once, or have 2 microphones at once, or a microphone and a guitar, and any combination between the 1 and the 2 input jacks. I would suggest playing your bass guitar on input 2. If you're going to play bass guitar, you can do that as well. And you can have mic over here, bass over here, or you can have guitar over here, bass over here. However you want to configure your instruments between these 2 jacks, input 1, input 2, as long as they are guitars and or microphones. Over here is for your line-in instruments on the auxiliary input only, and that would be for like a CD player. You could use a DVD player's auxiliary source from it. You won't be able to use the video because it's just for audio only auxiliary. And then you can use an MP3 player or a telephone that you may have that you're using a cell phone, and use its outputs to go into this auxiliary, such as for use of backing tracks and stuff like that, or any other source of music or whatever you want to record with. All 3 of these inputs can be used for recording or for playback. You cannot play or record using input 2 simultaneously with the auxiliary input. You can only use one or the other at a time, one at a time, not both at the same time. Why Boss did that, I don't know, but you know, it'd be nice if you could. But for one, you would have to have 2 different volume levels for each one, but there's only one shared right here, seated behind input 2, input 1 knob. Input 1 knob's right here on the outside, on the top, and then on the outside ring. The outside ring going around input 1 is input 2 volume knob, and that's for input 2, and it also works for the auxiliary volume. That's the reason why you can't use them both at the same time, because they work on the same volume level, both of them. So otherwise you need separate volume levels, and Boss didn't do that. Okay, so get on to before I run out of time here on my recorder. When you're recording on this and you're recording a song, and it can be your song, whatever use you may have of the song, and you want to use it for making a song, there are no individual tracks on this recorder, but you can overdub basically as much as you like. So when you record that piece of track, you can come back and record over it and record over it and record over it, and that's how that goes. You can push record to record anytime you want to record any of these inputs that you're using at the time for recording, or you can use the play and the record at the same time if you're using a track that's already queued up, ready to go, ready to be played. That might have been factory, or it might have been something you installed into the JS-10. Whatever the case, you can play that and push record at the same time, and it will record that track and you wherever it's queued up for. And you, by the way, you can cue that up by going to this counter down here, using your right cursor to get to the highlight of that, and you highlight that counter right there, and you can turn the knob and get to the precise moment that you want to start recording on that particular piece of track. So that's another cool feature. I would suggest that if you want to know the exact time, if you don't know ahead of time how much time your whole track's going to be, what it is already that you're working off of, the existing track that's in there, you can turn the knob until you can't turn it anymore to the right to give you the full length of your track. And you might want to write that down, because for some reason Boss didn't give put a feature in there that shows the how much time is on your track totally. Hi, I'm back. This is Mark Rockledge, and I'm going to pick up where I left off, and we were talking about tips on using the Boss E-Band JS-10 player recorder for recording purposes. And I would like to give you some more tips on the JS-10 itself, some more information about the JS-10 in that regard. So let's get started on with the rest where I picked up last, and that's on the counter itself. Okay, now let's go over here to this where it says list, and the reason why I want to bring that up, and we want to highlight that right now, and you want to use the wheel right here to turn it to where it says 1, and you'll see arrows going in a circle. That means what's going to happen when it reaches to the end of that recording, it's going to repeat and create a loop. Okay, so if you're using a loop in your song, no matter what size the loop is, and no matter how many times you want to continuously play your loop from one end to the other, that's up to you for either playing purposes or recording purposes. You want to have this feature right here turned to 1. That's the reason I'm mentioning that, is if you're using an existing loop already from up here in this track space, which you'll be playing with your play button in conjunction with your record button if you're recording, or just play button if you're just playing around with the track. So you want to have that feature turned on for your loop purposes. Okay, and if you want also to play a song and have it repeat over again, that's what it does also. Those two things. If you turned it to where you see an arrow under 1, you'll see arrow under the arrow under 1. That means that it will play that track, and it will stop when it reaches the end. No matter how long the track is, or whether it's a loop or not, it's going to stop right here. Okay. Any type of recording at all, music, whatever it may be, speeches, etc., etc. I'm going to go to list on there. It says list. List with the arrow means it's going to continuously play track after track in that direction. So if you went to this one right here, it's not only going to play each track that you have loaded into this JS-10 or whatever it may be loaded into there. such as Factory and etc. It will play each song all the way through, and then it will play the next song, and then when it reaches the end of all your songs in that list, it'll start back over again. Then you got the shuffle. That means it's just going to shuffle through the tracks that are already in there, or whatever you may have in there. So that's what that feature does. Go back up here for recording purposes with your using your cursor left or right. You want to move up and down to get to input 1, which is down here at the bottom of your JS-10 player and up here on your screen. If you want to get to input 2, cursor right over to input 2, from input 1 over to input 2 to highlight it if you want to make any adjustments to that screen. Whenever you see a guitar in the screen, that means it's set up for customizing guitars and giving it its own name if you would like, such as what I did here with Rush, R-U-S-H. So I wanted, if I put the name in there, it's right there. So I customized that going into the song name mode. You can do the same on input 2. Now if you don't see a guitar and you see a microphone, and the reason that is, it might have been set up previously for a microphone and the guitar was added. So what you want to do in that instance, if you are using a microphone, you want to change that rush to over to your mic settings, and by doing that you hit your effects button down here, move your category by using your wheel and move it to mic, and it'll say category microphone. Use your cursor right button to go through the different various microphone settings, cursor left to go out of it if you want to change categories for any reason. And if you're on a bass guitar, here's the settings for bass. You click right and then you go scroll through the bass guitar sounds. Each bass and microphone settings categories each have around 6 different types of sounds for that category. So that's all you're going to get from Boss out of this. And you can't change them, you can't do any adjustments to those that are already in the category of bass and microphone. You can make adjustments to your user category. So if you go to your user patch, that means your user guitar patch tones that you have created. Right click to get to those, scroll up and down, and you can make adjustments to those because those are the ones that you have created, whether they were from existing guitar tones or not. That's up to you. They would come out of these existing guitar tones right here on the screen. And if you didn't, such as metal and 80s and such, you can go over here and grab a guitar tone and tweak it out. Hi guys, I'm back where we picked up last and where we left off last, and I want to talk to you about the input 1 and input 2 screen here. It's in the middle of your main screen. This is what I call your main home screen. Whenever you have the track listed, you'll see either a guitar or a microphone icon in that window. We're working with input 1 right now, okay? So you're either going to see a microphone or a guitar over there, and it's going to have a name here. It's either going to be the name of your microphone setting, or the name of your bass guitar setting, or the name of your guitar setting. One of those 3. So how do we get to changing this mic setting? By the way, if we're going to give it a microphone sound effect, we have to have that microphone icon on. Why? Because if it's in the guitar effect mode, it will feedback. It won't be on the right connection there to play it without feedback. So here we go. In order to change that, we want to push our menu button. That'll be the first and only menu button first and only button we push first. Menu, and we're going to go to audio setting. I already have it highlighted, otherwise it usually highlights on song first. You will have to use your cursor button to go left or right to get to where you left off last. Okay, so in this case we want to highlight audio setting. We're going to push enter. That's going to bring us to this screen on the left. You have three choices. You can go to input, you can go to EQ to adjust your EQ levels that are for the external speakers, and also works on the external outputs as well as the sound that goes from out of your JS-10 to external sources, such as a computer and music equipment and recording equipment and such, mixing boards, etc. So this speaker over here, this icon over, or this setting over here says speaker. That's for if you wanted to turn on and off your speaker, you push enter and you can turn the dial to turn it on or off right there. Right now we want to leave it on. So I exit out of there. If you go left, you want to adjust your EQ, your global EQ. You can make your adjustments on your wheel, highlight them as you use your cursor to highlight each individual one. And then you can exit out of there. When you're done with that, you can go over here and hit enter as you highlight this screen right here. Hit enter and you're going to see this. You can turn the wheel and it will change the input 1 to guitar. In this instance we want it on microphone. Okay, if we were playing input 1 with a guitar, we want to change that to a guitar by using the wheel. To get down to input 2's input usage, you want to have a guitar on the screen for bass guitar or electric guitar. If you're going to use a microphone, turn the wheel right here so it shows a microphone. Okay, you can exit out of there at any point. You don't have to left or right. So if you're down here anywhere, you don't have to use the left cursor. And by the way, while we're here, I'm going to show you what these are right here. Here's your panning levels right here, and that's for your inputs, your input 1 and input 2, which would be right here. So you highlight these, and let's say you got your guitar or your microphone hooked up to input 2. You can pan it all the way left, 100%, 75%, 50%, 25%, and same way with going to the right. You can pan it all the way right, 100, 75, 50, 25, or just keep it centered. That's what that's for. You have to highlight it to make the adjustments, same as the guitar icons right here in the window. So if you're using a microphone, you want the microphone. If you're using a mic setting, a mic 2 or mic 1, you want it to have the microphone icon. Do that by turning the wheel once you have it highlighted like this. Leave it on guitar if you're using just guitars, bass or electric guitar. We'll exit out of there, and that's where we left off. I left it at guitars. So if I go to input 1 right now, by pushing menu, audio setting, input 1 showing guitar. If I go to input 2, exit out of there, input 2 show you microphone. See, microphone. But it says bass drive, so to make that correction there, because like I said, you can't have guitar sounds coming with a microphone icon. It has to be a microphone setting. In order to do that, you want to change it. By doing that, you hit your effects button, and you could be at any point on this screen. Hit your effects button, and you want to turn it to the right until you reach microphone. If you went too far to the right, it would be only one setting to the right, which are your user patches. So if I click one down from the user patch, that's your microphone setting. Okay, we're back where we picked up last, and we are on input 1, and we're concerned about changing that to a microphone icon so I can make a microphone sound for that input 1. So we're going to exit out of there. We're going to go to our main screen, and I will go over to, you see the microphone now that I put in the place of input 1. Okay, now we have the guitar setting that's still in there. We want a microphone effect to go with that microphone setting for microphone 1, for input 1. So we're going to hit our effects button down here, the bottom right of the JS-10. By the way, if you go all the way to the left with your dial, once you push your effects button, it's going to show your categories to your left, and it's going to show you your different variations of blues guitar that goes with that blues category. These are all guitar patches, guitar tones. If I turn the wheel right one click, it's going to go to soul funk. You got different, to get over here to the right, just use your right cursor arrow, and you can scroll through the settings and hit your enter button on which one you might want to try out, or if you want to try them all out, it's up to you. And you can also use any of those settings to tweak those out in any of these categories, any of these patches. Tweak them out and make them your own. Customize them to make them sound accordingly the way you like it. So you set that up. And I go another click, I go to jazz, another click, it goes to Liverpool, hard rock, that's 70s hard rock, 80s metal, modern metal, West Coast guitar, fuzz rock guitar, studio guitars, progressive guitars, surf rock sounding guitars, country sounding guitars, such as 50s and so on. And here's punk pop sort of guitars. You have green punk, radio, and all sorts of other ones in there. And then you have your bass guitar settings and your microphone settings, and then your user patches that you have created. They all get stored right here. So if you're ever looking for something that you tweaked out and stored, whether you gave it a name, used part of the name, whatever configuration of the name you used, you're going to find it over here. Right click over there and scroll through it to find what you're looking for. Once you find it, you push enter, and it's boom, it's already loaded. And so we're going to go down. By the way, if you turn the wheel to the right, that's all the further you can get is to the user patch. Turn it to the left, one click, and then you'll find your mic. One click again, you'll find your bass. And all the rest below that would be guitar settings. So we're at mic set category right now. We're going to go over here to the screen on the right by right clicking, and we're going to scroll through that and pick one out. I like the deep reverb, so we're going to click on that by pushing enter, and here it will automatically bring it up to your main screen, which is deep reverb. Now you can see that, and it no longer has a guitar setting there anymore, which means it will not feedback. Well, it will feedback if you're too close to the external speakers with your microphone, but it won't have a tendency to have distortion or any other unwanted effect in there that you don't want on your microphone. So we want deep reverb sound on our microphone. That's why we want to pick that microphone setting, deep reverb. We don't want any unnecessary sounds in there, like distortions or anything like that. That might come with a guitar sound. So, and you can go over here to input 2 and do the same thing. You can make your adjustments. You can change that to a microphone if you want. If you're using microphones on input 2 or a microphone on input 2, or so if you are, then you want to change that bluesy crunch sounding guitar sound to a microphone sound. And by doing so, you push the effects button, scroll to the right until you get all the way up to microphone category, click to the right and scroll to the microphone setting you want. Let's push long delay for that. So now we got long delay. Now we got to change the guitar to a microphone. How do we do that? You push the menu button, remember, then we highlight audio setting, click on that, highlight the input setting, click on that, and then we will change the input 2 by scrolling over to input 2 using our cursor right, and go down to that and turn the knob until it highlights a microphone icon. We will exit out of there to our main screen. I call this the home screen, the main screen. That will show your tracks up here to the top, and your microphone and guitar settings on the left or right side of the screen, depending on how you click the cursor left or right to get to your input 1 or input 2. Whichever's highlighted the most will be on that input. If you cursor right down some more, you can change this to 1, and you can change it to 1 loop around, and then you can cursor over here and highlight the counter, and you make use of that if you like to find out how long your track is. That would be key to do that. If you cursor to the left here, to the right again, it won't go any further past the counter. And remember, when you're recording, okay guys, I'm back to the counter. That counter during a recording process will only keep track of the track that you are playing along with. If there is a track that you are playing along with, whether it's music or not. Okay, so if you push record, you're just going to see these numbers go in here in regards to the track. It will loop around once it gets to the end of that track or loop of music, audio of any kind. Now when you do hit the record button, I will show you right here, it's going to start a recording number counter over there, and it's going to keep track of the time from the time you push record to the time you stop it. So it has nothing to do with this right here. As you can see, it is now recording. Now right now I don't have anything pushed as far as play because I'm not playing the track. Otherwise I would have to push play and record at the same time. And I don't have anything hooked up to my inputs. By the way, if you're recording with these 3 inputs, as soon as you push stop, it will say working, then it'll give you an option. It will say save or erase. Highlight with your cursor to indicate which one you want to do. In this case, I want to erase that because there's nothing there for demonstration purposes. Getting back to the inputs, they will record anything you have input in there. And I would suggest if you are doing a recording and you want a fade at the end of your recording, that means at the end of your, once you push record and then you push stop, if you want it to not stop abruptly all of a sudden, you can fade it out by using an external source to go into it, such as a guitar, bass, microphone, or the input for the auxiliary, meaning a CD player, MP3 player, your cell phone, or anything else that has an audio output. So you would go into the input here, and you can fade it that way when you reach the end of your recording. The only time you're going to use the play and record together is if you're using one of these tracks up here. If you're not, don't worry about push and play, just push record. And by the way, when you are recording, to do your fade on any of these, such as guitar or bass, whatever you want to fade out, or your auxiliary equipment, you want to use the knob right here for fading it out, or you can use the knob on your volume knob on your external equipment to fade it out. You can use both, you can use one or the other. This knob for number 2 volume is for the auxiliary and input 2, both. This knob right here, this volume knob for input 1 only. So you can fade out by using these knobs or your external equipment to fade it out by turning the volume levels back on your guitars or your microphone, whatever the case. Over here, your master volume, that has no effect on your recordings. It just allows you to play, to turn up your volume so you can hear it whether you're playing or recording. It has no effect on your recordings. So that's how you fade a song, because you won't be able to fade a song using these tracks, whether they're your tracks or someone else's. If they aren't already pre-faded out at the end, then you won't be able to fade them unless you're using one of these inputs to do otherwise. That's your way around using a fade at the end of a song or loop that you may be recording at the time. Okay, a couple last tips on recording. Maybe 2 or 3 cool features I found interesting when you do record, and that would be using your A and B button for creating a loop within the track that you are recording at the time. So an existing track that you may have put in there, or that's already in there from the factory. So this, say for instance, you want to record the beginning of that track, and then you want to create a loop within that track. So what I would do, I would take a song, and I'll go into the song list here. I'll go back to this one. This, by the way, the songs that you save in this system is pretty much so alphabetically for the most part. It keeps everything alphabetically for you. Now, if you see the alphabet repeating itself over again, starting with a whole new list of songs, that means you have recorded or put some songs in here, and then at a later date and time you come back and put some more in there. So it starts an A through Z list, and then it'll start another A through Z list right after that, and so on, of all the songs that you have within a list. So in other words, you can have more than one group of A through Z list of songs, and that depends on if you went back and put more songs in there at a later date and time. That's why you'll see them starting over A through Z again, just to let you know. And another thing too that I found cool about this. You can kind of play DJ with this thing. So let's say I push start on this, okay? It's going to start playing the song that I just started up. You can hear it coming in. Okay, so I'm playing this song. Let's say I want to bring in another song, and I wait until the end of that song's playing like a real DJ would do. And let's say this is the end of the song and I want to play this next song. You can highlight and scroll through any of these songs anywhere on your list. You can scroll through all of those songs while you're listening to a song that's already playing. So while the song's already playing, you can search for another song and cue it up just by highlighting that song. So if I want to use, go into another song, let's say Ain't Talking About Love by Van Halen. Let's say I want to go into that next. All you have to do is, you don't have to push stop, you don't have to push enter. You can stop the track, you can push enter to, but I also found out, even while the song, whether the song's playing or not, if you push play, it'll start playing that next song that you have highlighted. So if I want to play this next song, I push play. See, it already came in with that song as soon as I push play again, while it was already in the play mode. So you can't do that. A lot of people don't realize that. This is cool. So now I can move on and find another song I want to cue up, get ready by highlighting it and pushing play again. And like for instance, now it's playing this song, Led Zeppelin. Okay, so that's how that goes with that. Get back to the recording process. Let's say I found a song I want to work with, and we'll go with a Tail on Toad. That is a Trower song. So, to give you an idea, I'll exit out of here, push it up a couple of times, bring it to the beginning, and I'll start out with a drum track. I'm sorry. Let me go back into song. Tail on Toad. Enter. Okay, now it's in there, a Tail on Toad. Okay. Push stop twice, start from the beginning. Now if you listen, there's a drum track. Let's say you want to keep that intro, but you want to start making a loop about, so use your A and B button. Let's say you're recording. Let's say you're recording at that moment. So you would go, just pretend that I'm recording, let's say. So right when that guitar starts coming, I pushed A. And I pushed B right after that. So getting back to that song, that's Tail on Toad. Remember, I want the intro to be kept. And then I created a little loop out of the guitar section of that song, in that beginning of that song, that intro, to create a loop to work with, to kind of like, sort of like making your own backing track. So now if I push play, what's going to happen is it's going to play at the beginning of the song as long as I push stop a couple of times, and which brings it back to the beginning of the song. If you push it once, it just stops it wherever you left off. Push stop twice, it brings it to the beginning of the song. So that's what I want to do, because I want that intro in there. And as soon as it reaches the A and B, as long as you see A and B in the screen, that means there is an existing loop that you have created somewhere within that song or track that was recorded. So, or if you're using an existing track like I'm doing here. So I created a loop with the A and B button. I pushed A first to start it on the where I wanted to start it, and I pushed B, pushed the same button again to create a beat, meaning once you see A and B, it created a segment of a loop, no matter how long of a loop it is that you created. So in this instance, I want to play it from the beginning. You'll hear the drums, and then when it reaches the loop, it'll continuously play within the loop and not go any further into the song. So right after this drum intro, you'll hear the guitars come in, and then it will repeat a loop. Notice the counter will go back, see, to 17. So when it reaches a certain number in the loop, at the end, it goes back to 17 again, where I started the loop. So basically it's just repeating on the counter 17 through 24 in this instance. So through 17 through 24 on the counter, I created a loop. And that's just going to continuously play. In order to get to play the rest of the song, all I have to do is push A and B for a third time. If I push this, it will make this A and B loop disappear off the screen, and it will continuously play the rest of the song. Pretty cool feature. So if I wanted to record that, which I have recorded that, and I went to my by the way, you can go to your song, user songs, and click on that where it says user songs to retrieve any recordings you may have made. I'm going to go to the last one I did, which would be this one, I believe 105, since I didn't give it a name yet, and I believe that's Tail on Toad that I just created. So because I recorded it previously, so let's try that out. Yes, it was. So I recorded that using the intro. See, you can record the intro that way. And all it did was keep repeating that over, and I made a 5-minute long song backing track out of it by doing that. And that's how you can create your own backing tracks, by the way. You don't have to use the whole song, you use a segment of a song, and that's a cool feature. Another thing I want to mention too, when you're recording, let's say you push record, you can do it like a guitar solo as an intro to a song, or any other piece of audio source through your auxiliary. Remember using your volume knobs here to bring in that sound. And you can push record, let's say, and start your song. Let's say you got a track up here you want to use also in addition to any of these. So let's say you got a track that you have ready, and it's at the point where you want it to start it at. You do your intro with your record, and then all of a sudden you push play. While it's already recording, you can do that. You don't have to push them both at the same time. I think I might have mentioned that previously, but just letting you know that you can wait to push record while it's in the record mode already. So that will activate anything up here. That's all that play is for, and that means it'll pick up, the recording will pick up that. So you can come in with an intro. Hey guys, one more last thing. Whenever you're using the recorder and you're recording using a track, no matter where the track came from, if you're using that track and you're using play record, so you can get that track to play and record it, whether you push play first or record first or record and let it play for a while and then push play, it's up to you. But the tip I was going to give you here, that I am going to give you here, is the tip on when you use this song to record, and let's say you made a recording and you stopped it, it's going to ask you, do you want to save and erase one or the other? Well, as soon as you make that decision, it's going to bring you back to this screen, the main home screen. And also, what it does when you do record and it brings you back to that screen, when you push song list, it won't bring you back to the original spot you were in necessarily, because I found that out the hard way. That, yeah, no big deal, nothing's going wrong with your system. It just brings you back to where you don't want to be when you push song list. So what you're going to have to do is go through all your songs, and right now I'm in the user section. Push song list, and get to this screen, and then scroll to where you want to get to. If you want to use your users, or go use your user memory. Mine's empty because I'm not using a thumb drive or a USB drive in the back right now on that particular one. So I would go to like album and hit enter on that. They got things for guitar, bass, guitar and bass, and that's it. And up here where there's nothing, all you see is an arrow right there. You right click it, that will bring you to all your MP3 recordings that you put in there, whether it was through the using your auxiliary to record in, or using the backside, using your USB cable, because there's two USB ports back there. One's for the USB drive and the other one's for your USB cable to put them in that way. So you have a couple of options coming from your PC to your JS-10 player. Anyway, thank you for watching. This concludes the recording process and tips, and hope I didn't bore you, and I hope this has been informative for you to know all these things to make you a better creator on the JS-10, and to have more fun with it and to enjoy it more and make more use of it. So don't be scared, and you got to practice, 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 record, record, record. Can't emphasize that any more than doing it over and over and over and over until you become an expert at what you do. So have fun with it, you know, use the buttons, watch my videos. I gave you all the info you need to know to get started and have fun recording and making tracks and making guitar tone patches and so on. Thank you for watching. Thank you for viewing. Hit that like and subscribe. Until next time, peace.